The sting of her hand echoed louder than the music. My daughter-in-law's palm cracked across my face, and the entire ballroom froze. My glasses slipped, hitting the polished floor, shards scattering like my dignity. 100 eyes bore into me, yet no one moved. Ethan looked down, ashamed, while Juliet stood tall, her voice slicing the silence. "Give us your keys." "You don't need that apartment anymore." Humiliation burned deeper than pain. For years, I had endured her barbed remarks. Tonight, however, she crossed the line. That slap wasn't just an insult, it awakened a truth I could no longer hide. My name is Aurora Hughes. I'm 68 years old, a widow who has lived quietly for more than a decade. To most people, I am just an ordinary old woman, a clerk at the flower shop, a driver of an aging sedan, someone who shops during sales and wears the same winter coat for years. Juliet, my daughter-in-law, never missed a chance to remind me of that image. What she doesn't know, and what I have never shared, is that the life she sees is only the surface. Beneath it lies a story she could never imagine. That night, after she slapped me, I walked out of the ballroom with my heart pounding in my ears. My hands shook, but not from weakness. Something inside me had hardened. For years, I had hidden behind humility, pretending my world was smaller than it truly was. Now, in front of 130 witnesses, I had been humiliated beyond repair. The pitying looks, the whispers, each word stung like acid. But humiliation can also be liberation. I no longer needed to hide. I stepped outside into the cool night air, pulled my old phone from my bag, and dialed a number I hadn't used in months. "Carlos," I whispered. "It's time." "Bring the papers." My voice trembled, but I meant every word. He hesitated. He always worried about me, but I cut him short. "Tonight." No delays. As I waited in my car, memories of Juliet flooded my mind like an unending reel. The first day Ethan introduced her, she had scanned my apartment as if she were evaluating a property listing. Her polite smile did not reach her eyes, and I knew then that her affection was not for my son, but for the opportunities he might provide. Over time, her disdain sharpened. She ridiculed my clothes, mocked my small kitchen, even questioned why I still worked. To Ethan, these were harmless comments. To me, they were daggers dipped in venom. One night, after dinner, I overheard her whispering into her phone while Ethan fetched the dessert. "Yes, Mom," she said, her voice hushed but unmistakably smug. "The apartment is in a prime location. If I play this right, we'll have it within a year. She's too soft to fight us." That was the moment I knew Juliet wasn't careless. She was calculated. Still, I said nothing. I played the fragile widow she wanted me to be, nodding politely as she offered brochures for senior living facilities, letting her believe her words had weight. She thought I was naive. She thought I was weak. What she didn't realize was that every cruel remark, every insult, was being etched into my memory. She was writing her own downfall, line by line. That slap in the ballroom wasn't her first betrayal. It was just the loudest. Carlos arrived precisely 30 minutes later, headlights sweeping across the parking lot. He stepped out of his car with a leather briefcase in hand and a look of concern etched on his face. "Mrs. Hughes," he said softly, "are you absolutely sure?" "I've never been more sure," I replied, straightening my back. The trembling in my hands had vanished. From the briefcase, Carlos pulled the documents I had been preparing for years, but never thought I'd need. Property deeds, investment accounts, a will rewritten more than once. Proof that the frail woman Juliet mocked was in truth a guardian of wealth her shallow mind could never fathom. I flipped through the pages, each one a reminder of the sacrifices Robert and I had made, the decisions we had taken to protect our privacy. He always said, "Invisible wealth is the safest wealth." He was right. "Everything is here," Carlos explained. "Bank transfers, apartment title, your revised will. Once we go in there, the illusion ends." I nodded. The ballroom lights glowed in the distance, still filled with music and laughter. They had no idea what was coming. Walking back inside, the silence fell like a curtain. All eyes turned toward me. Juliet's smug expression faltered when she saw Carlos beside me. "Aurora, what are you doing?" she hissed, though her voice cracked with unease. "Ladies and gentlemen," Carlos announced, his tone commanding attention, "we have urgent matters to address." Murmurs rippled through the room. Ethan paled, tugging nervously at his tie. Juliet laughed bitterly. "Urgent matters? With her? She's nothing. Look at her. She doesn't even own a decent dress." I stepped forward, my voice calm but unshakable. "Appearances deceive, Juliet." "Tonight, everyone will learn the truth." Carlos opened the first document. "Effective immediately, all financial support Mrs. Hughes has provided to her son has ceased. For the past 3 years, she has covered rent, debts, and expenses totaling over $150,000. That ends tonight." Gasps spread across the room like wildfire. Juliet staggered. "Lies! She has nothing." I met her eyes and held them. "You thought the flower shop was my survival. You thought my old car was necessity. No, Juliet. They were my shield, my choice, because I wanted to see who loved me for myself, not for my wealth." Ethan whispered, "Mom, all this time?" His voice cracked, his bravado shattered. "Yes, Ethan," I answered softly, though my words were sharp as glass. "And while you planned to take my home, I was the reason you had one. While Juliet sneered at me, I was paying for her wedding gown, her dinners, her comfort. And tonight, it ends." The guests watched in stunned silence. Juliet's face crumpled, her mask finally broken. Ethan dropped into a chair, pale and trembling. For the first time in years, I felt no shame, no fear, only freedom. They had tried to strip me of my dignity. Instead, they handed me the power to show them who I truly was. 3 days after that disastrous wedding, my apartment felt like a sanctuary again. The same walls Juliet once called too big for an old woman now echoed with peace instead of humiliation. Each morning, Joseph knocked on my door, carrying coffee and warm bread from the bakery down the street. "This is the week Aurora took back her dignity," he joked, but I could see the pride in his eyes. His kindness reminded me that family is sometimes chosen, not inherited. My phone, on the other hand, had not stopped ringing. Ethan called dozens of times. His first messages were filled with anger, then slowly turned to desperation. Juliet's texts were frantic, blaming me for everything. Her parents came twice, demanding I fix the shame I had caused. But I stayed silent. For the first time in years, my silence was not fear. It was strength. Carlos visited one morning with updates. "Mrs. Hughes," he said, setting papers on my table. "Their apartment lease was terminated. The ballroom has filed a claim for unpaid fees. Their credit cards have been frozen." He paused, looking at me. "They are back living with Juliet's parents." "It's not going well." I nodded, not with joy, but with a calm acceptance. Actions always have consequences. That afternoon, Lucy came by with Amelia and Joseph. Their faces carried the weight of urgency. Lucy placed a folder on my desk. "Aunt Aurora, I've uncovered something." Juliet had consulted lawyers months ago, preparing to challenge your mental capacity. "They wanted legal control of your assets." Amelia added, "She even spread rumors to your neighbors about your supposed instability." For a moment, anger surged. Then it settled into something colder. Resolve. "If they want war," I said, then it will be fought on my terms. I have documented everything, their threats, the slap, the humiliation. If they try to drag me into court, I'll show them exactly who I am. Joseph showed me a video on his phone, one of the many clips recorded that night. It had gone viral. Strangers online weren't seeing a senile woman. They were seeing a mother standing tall against abuse. Thousands of comments praised my courage. Some even shared their own stories of being pressured or mistreated by family. Carlos smiled. Public opinion is on your side. If this ever goes to trial, that support will be powerful. For the first time, I realized my story wasn't just mine. It was the story of countless parents and grandparents who had been silenced by manipulation and fear. I had become a voice for them. So tonight, as I sit on my balcony, I want to speak to you, the one listening now. If my story reminds you of your own, don't stay quiet. You deserve respect. You deserve peace. And if you've ever been made to feel disposable, remember, you are not. Did you like my story? Tell me in the comments where you're listening from. If this touched you, consider sending a super thanks to support more stories like this. Don't forget to subscribe. Your next life story is waiting for you.